Hi everyone, this is going to be a video showing you some tips for the Ortega method for doing it faster. These are pretty much all the things that I do when I'm using the Ortega method. And so the first thing is pretty basic. Pretty much you just must be color neutral. It's an absolute must because a lot of times if you're only able to do white, see you have kind of, it's an okay case for the white face, but it's a lot better for red. You have 4 moves. And that will be a lot faster than trying to do it on white. And sometimes you even have a complete face done for you. And being color neutral on 2x2 is very easy because the thing that makes being color neutral hard is on 3x3 is the F2L, and you don't have an F2L, so it's very easy to be color neutral on a 2x2. Now the only bad thing about the Ortega method that I can think of is the number of steps. There are 3 steps, and it's not necessarily the steps that's bad, it's the pause that people have in between the steps. And so basically these next few tips are all about reducing the number of pauses you have in between the steps to just make it one smooth solve. And so when you make your first face, you should always use your inspection to try to figure out what case you have on the bottom face, whether it's adjacent switch, diagonal switch, or if it's all completely solved. And an easy way to tell is just a lot of times you'll have 2 next to each other and you can see that these 2 are solved, so it's either going to be the whole thing is solved or these 2 are going to be switched. And I see that this piece I'm going to put there. If I was going to do this piece would go there, and I would see that this does not match up to that, so I already know that these 2 are going to be switched. Another thing is that you'll always be able to tell what case you have by just looking at 2 sides of the bottom layer. First of all, if you have a solid 2 of the same colors, then obviously you have 2 of the same colors. But if you're just looking at it like this, it might be a little bit harder to tell. But one thing you can know is that if you have 2 opposites next to each other, and they're the only opposites next to each other, then that means on the opposite side you have matching colors. But let's say we have opposite colors here and opposite colors somewhere else, anywhere on the cube. That means that you have a Y on the bottom, which means that they have to be switched diagonally. And whenever you have the T case, since I taught you to recognize the PBL case by searching for these bars here, you should always know where that bar is before you even start solving, and you should just figure all that out during the inspection. Another thing that you can do, but is a little bit trickier, is to when you have a simple first face and you've already figured out which case you're going to have on the bottom. In this case, these 2 need to be switched, so which means I have the bar here. So after you figure out that, during your remaining 15 seconds of inspection, what you should try to do is predict your OLL case so you can go straight into it after you finish your first face. And this can get pretty hard if you have a complicated first face, but you shouldn't have a complicated first face too often if you're color neutral. So for this one, it's only 3 moves, RU, R prime, and you can just follow the pieces around in your head, and I can see that I'll have the diagonals case, where 2 of the corners are correctly oriented. So when I do that, I can just immediately go into the algorithm, and I can just go straight to the PBL case. Sometimes though, when you have a first face that's more than like 3 moves or something, or if you just can't seem to be able to predict which case you're going to get, what I like to do sometimes when I can't do it is, right when I'm about to finish my first face, I will slow down my turning and try to see what case it is before it happens, so I can, again, just go straight to it and I won't have a pause. And even though you're slowing down, it'll still be faster than if you pause. Like for example, I would I would do this fast and then slow down, and I see these, and I don't see a green here, so that means it's that case, and I can just go straight into it. Another thing I like to do, but isn't really necessary, is to be able to do OLO cases from different angles. Like I could do this case from this angle, like that, or I could do it from this angle, like that. Another case is I can do this case like this, or I can do it with the headlights on the side. So you just search around the internet for multiple algorithms for the OLO case, so you don't have to spend time adjusting the U-face, because that takes a little bit of time. So that's pretty much all the tips that I use, but I don't really use Ortega anymore since I just learned CLL, which is pretty nice. And don't feel like you need to learn CLL in order to get good times, because Shuhei Omura gets fantastic times with Ortega. So it's just all about your practice and using these tips effectively. So thanks for watching. Bye.